How is it going, guys? Rhino here, and welcome back to another video where we're going to be tackling a really stupid feminist argument that I guarantee you guys have seen multiple times because it's been attacked from multiple YouTubers. I mean, pretty much any YouTuber you can think of has attacked this video because it's such an easy target. However, I want to say before I start this video that I think the reason it's such an easy target isn't because the poster of this is just that stupid. I honestly think he just understands what will happen if he posts a video like this. So many people are going to do responses that he'll just get a ton of views, which results in a ton of money. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there, but I still feel like these arguments deserve to be debunked, and I'm going to give my own perspective on these. So roll tape.
Would you date someone who's trans?
Not in a million years. I am attracted to biological women. What I mean by that is I'm attracted to a woman who was born a woman. Someone who has XX chromosomes, essentially an absent Y chromosome, and still identifies as a woman. There are also other factors that go into it, but anyone who doesn't fit that criteria is automatically out.
Would you date someone who's black?
My answer is maybe. It depends on a lot of other factors, but being black is absolutely not a deal breaker. I have seen plenty of attractive black people who I would absolutely date. It's just I currently happen to be dating a white girl because she is who I'm the most attracted to and who I had the most connection with.
Would you date someone who's fat?
Nope.
Would you date someone who's disabled?
Just like with a lot of other things, I feel like you're being way too vague here. It depends on the disability. Like, for example, me personally, I'm disabled. But you can't tell by looking at me, or by talking to me, or by even knowing me or dating me. You have to actually know my medical history and know my health to understand that I actually have a disability, and then I do qualify for things like disability pay. So it depends on the disability.
Now, honestly, I don't know what your answer is to those questions, but I've met a surprising number of people who would say no to all, or at least some of them.
You shouldn't be surprised. Most people that I know would say no to at least one of them, if not most of them.
Their argument is that it's just a preference and that you can't control who you're attracted to. I think most of the time that this is brought up, it's in regards to race. I'll link to a couple really good videos in the description about racial dating preferences.
Quick hint, they're not good videos.
But in this video, I want to talk about our other biases. Let's start with trans people. Would you date a trans person, honestly? Think about it for a second.
I've already said no, but I want to make a quick comment. Even though you make the dumbest arguments I've ever heard, I am really impressed with the sort of art and editing and video quality that you have. So I just wanted to give you a quick compliment, kind of throw something in there that maybe you weren't expecting if you happen to be watching this video. That's something I don't know how to do. I don't know how to edit at all, so I am impressed with that at least, but I don't even need to take a second to think about if I date a trans person or not. The answer is absolutely fucking not.
Okay, got your answer? Well, if you said no, I'm sorry, but that's pretty discriminatory.
Based on that logic, pretty much any preference that I set where there is something that I say hell no to in a relationship, you can just throw out the window and say it's discriminatory. So for example, let's say I don't date people who have the shittiest personalities in the world. Well, that's discriminatory towards people who have shitty personalities. You see, technically, all of our preferences are discriminatory because we discriminate against certain things that we don't like. That is why they are preferences. We prefer things a certain way. I prefer girls who have a very good and very friendly but kind of bubbly personality. That's my personal favorite. That's my personal preference too.
Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you're a horrible person who hates trans people. There was probably a time in my life when I said I wouldn't date a trans person. But since then, I've thought critically about it and changed my mind.
Congratulations, that's more power to you. But that doesn't mean everyone else has to change their minds too. You have a larger dating pool now, but we don't. I will not change my mind on if I'll date trans people or not because I know for a fact I have zero attraction to trans people.
I could sit here and show you photos of conventionally attractive trans people. There are definitely trans people who you would never know are trans unless they told you because they pass for cis. And that might convince some of you. But I think arguing that you would only like a trans person if you didn't know they were trans is a poor argument.
Oh, that's not my argument. My argument is I want to know if you're trans or not. And if you're trans, I don't like you, plain and simple. If you hide that you're trans from me until we get to a point where things get physical, then I will literally lose my shit on you. Because being trans is absolutely something you should share almost instantly right off the bat if I can't tell. Now, normally I can tell 100% if someone is trans. It's pretty obvious for a lot of people because, you know, a male never really becomes a female. There's always those signs like your fucking ginormous Adam's apple and your voice as well. There are a lot of ways, and so this argument doesn't apply to me.
I think you could be attracted to any trans person, whether they pass or not.
Oh, but you don't speak for me. I am not attracted to a trans person regardless of if they pass or not, and even if they pass, it doesn't help them at all. What matters is if they are a biological woman or not.
I think the main concern that people have in regards to dating a trans person is that they won't have the genitals that they expect.
You used some tricky wordplay there. You substituted it in the word expect for the word desire. You see, I desire female genitals. That is what I am biologically attracted to. I am not attracted to a penis, balls at all, or an asshole even. It doesn't attract me. None of that attracts me. What attracts me is a vagina and boobs. That's what attracts me. And it's not what I expect on a woman, although I do expect that on a woman. Mind you, like, it's not like you completely got that wrong. I do expect that on a woman, but what matters is the fact that I desire those genitals. So that is why I won't date a trans person, is they don't have the genitals I desire, and even if they are a male becoming a female and they've already had the surgery, that's still pretty damn disgusting because they used to be a man. They used to have the genitals that I am disgusted by, for lack of better words, and now they have what is a sad excuse for a vagina.
Because we associate penises with men and vaginas with women, some people think they could never date a trans man with a vagina or a trans woman with a penis. But I think that people are more than their genitals.
That's a serious straw man right there. No one said that they're only genitals or that they're not more than their genitals. It's just genitals play a major role because that's what we're attracted to. A large part of a relationship, whether you like it or not, is sex. And I don't have sex with penises. I will not have sex with penises. And so I care about that. And that affects how I look at them in a romantic way, in a relationship setting. And so they are more than their genitals. No one ever stated they're only their genitals. It's just genitals are a deciding factor for the overwhelming majority of people.
I think that you could feel attraction to someone without knowing what's between their legs.
Theoretically, yes. I mean, for example, Blair White. I thought she was attractive. I thought she was hot. That's why I clicked on her thumbnail originally. But then when I clicked on her thumbnail and started watching her video and realized she is actually a trans woman, I lost all interest because I knew what was between her legs. So I had that attraction originally, but I would have found out regardless that she had those genitals before anything got anywhere, before it became any sort of relationship. As well as that kind of brings up the fact of if we had been talking and I started developing an interest in her, I would have expected her at some point early on to tell me that she's trans, and then things would be over right there.
And if you were to say that you're only attracted to people with vaginas or people with penises, it really feels like you're reducing people just to their genitals. You're kind of objectifying them, but you're thinking of them more as genitals than objects. So I guess you're kind of genitalifying them?
Terrible joke, but once again, wildly inaccurate. For example, I brought up earlier on that I don't like people with shitty personalities. So if I were to say that I wouldn't date anyone with a shitty personality, then am I reducing them to only their shitty personality? No, I'm using it as a barrier to dating them, because I feel like that is an important factor. There are multiple important factors when it comes to who I would date, and one of those is genitals. That doesn't mean I reduce them to only their genitals. I'm not genitalifying them, like your terrible joke. No, I am simply having my own personal preferences and exercising them. I guarantee you have preferences too. There are certain things you would not date, and I could use this argument to turn it back on you.
Anyway, my point is we have implicit biases that we were raised with or that we developed over time, and they can be hard to get rid of.
Correct, and you have yet to give one single solid argument as to why I should give up this bias over any of my other biases that you seem to have no problem with whatsoever, that you may even have yourself. You know, for example, I would never date someone who is an outright racist, who literally just says nigger to every black person that walks by. Do I have to unlearn that bias so then I would date someone like that? Because I would fucking kill myself if I dated someone who said nigger every time a black person walked by. I would beat the shit out of them myself.
And I think this can be especially prominent within the queer community. Gay men often pride themselves on being disgusted by vaginas, and the same goes for lesbian women with penises.
And the same thing goes with straight men and penises and straight women and vaginas. This is kind of the reason why we have people who are straight and people who are gay and bisexual. Although bisexual kind of supersedes this because they are attracted to both genitals, but that's kind of something to talk about another day, I guess.
It's difficult because some queer people have built their sexual identities on these repulsions, but I don't think they're innate at all. If you met someone who was extremely attractive, had a great personality, but didn't have the genitals that you wanted, you might be surprised to find that it isn't a deal breaker.
For you. For everyone else, it is a deal breaker. That is their personal preference, and you have no right to dictate what their personal preferences are and what their personal preferences aren't. That is theirs and theirs alone, and you have no reason to attack them.
As someone who is trans and gay, sometimes people ask me with a very accusatory tone if I would date a girl with a penis. Because there's this stereotype that trans lesbians are just predatory cis men creeping on cis women.
This is actually a stereotype that I've never heard.
But the thing is, I absolutely could be attracted to a woman with a penis. I could be attracted to any woman, cis or trans. If I find you attractive, I don't care what you have down there. But we know that sexual orientations are more innate than learned. They're more nature and less nurture. Gay conversion therapy has been proven not to work.
Correct. Gay conversion therapy was unable to teach gay men to love pussy, so why can you teach gay men to love pussy? Oh, you can't because it doesn't work. It is innate, just like your sexual preferences, because they go hand in hand. I am attracted to women. Women have vaginas. There are exceptions to this rule, but they are only exceptions. They are not a change to the rule.
But you can unlearn your own prejudices. It just takes time and conscious effort. And the way that we talk about potentially dating trans people has a lot in common with the way we discuss other preferences. Saying that you're not attracted to fat people isn't innate. It's informed by a society that tells you that being thin is ideal.
And your feminist brain fails yet again at logic. You see, being thin is better because being thin is associated with health on average. You see, this is typically the case, but not always the case. There are exceptions to this, like bulimia, as well as people like me. I don't have an eating disorder, but I'm unhealthily skinny due to a health issue that I have, which is actually me being unhealthy, which is why there are people who are unhealthily skinny. There is an ideal weight range because that is what we consider healthy, and people inside that weight range are people who take care of themselves. They are the healthy people. Being fat is not healthy, therefore it is not attractive. That is why very few people find fat people attractive.
Everything in the media you consume is bombarding you with messages that skinny is beautiful and fat is ugly. And even the nicest of people absorb these messages to some degree.
You have that in the wrong order. You see, the media realizes that people like skinny, and so that is what they put forward. The media doesn't teach us to like skinny people. We like skinny people, so the media advertises towards what we want or puts forward what we want.
But again, if you find someone attractive and really enjoy spending time with them, there's no reason why their weight should be a factor.
You are absolutely right here, because if I find someone attractive, they are already not fat, so their weight is not a factor.
Especially since we know that the relationship between weight and health is extremely complex, and you really can't make any moral judgments on a person based on their weight.
It's complex, but it's still there. Being fat is unhealthy no matter what. Being skinny is sometimes healthy, sometimes not, depends on the length of how skinny you are. So it is rather complex, but not as complex as you think it is, so people don't like fat people on average.
And lastly, let's talk about disabled people. Disabilities come in a very wide range, from being deaf to being in a wheelchair to only having one arm, and I think it's pretty ridiculous to say that you couldn't be attracted to any person who has any of those disabilities.
Actually, you can, because what I desire is a full body. I desire a body head to toe with a head, 2 arms, 2 legs, 10 fingers, 10 toes. The toes obviously is a little bit different, but would still kind of be a deal breaker. There are disabilities where I would say, fuck no, I would not date that person. But that is just yet again another preference, and you have no right judging me for my preferences, saying that I should not have them, because I could turn it right back on you about some of your own personal preferences.
Disabilities can happen to anyone. Someone you're extremely attracted to today could become disabled tomorrow.
Here's where I agree with you. I'm dating a girl that I've been with for over 4 years now, and if she lost her leg, I absolutely would still be attracted to her. But that's because of the love that we've built because of how strong and how long our relationship has been. However, if I met this same girl after she'd lost her leg and we didn't have this relationship, then I probably wouldn't date her because I no longer find her attractive.
And that shouldn't make your attraction to them disappear. Though if it does, it might not be because of them, but rather because you have some preconceived ideas about disabled people that are just inaccurate and harmful.
Inaccurate? Do you know what the definition of inaccurate is? I mean, you're a feminist, so obviously not, because every single statement and argument you make is inaccurate, but you really don't understand that inaccuracy is objective. It's inaccurate if it's objectively incorrect. But you can't say that someone being not attracted to someone who is disabled is inaccurate, because that makes absolutely no sense. You can think it's something bad. That's your personal opinion, and it's my personal opinion that you can have whatever personal fucking preferences you ever want. But that's just what they are, opinions. Okay, I can't watch any more of this video. The shit I put myself through for entertainment for you guys is pretty horrendous, which, by the way, I'm joking. I like doing this. It's pretty fun hearing stupidity and then responding to it. It kind of makes me feel good about myself because I'm not that stupid. And it amazes me that people can be this stupid. So I guess that just, makes me feel good. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. I apologize that it's so long, but thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to comment, rate, and subscribe. And as always, have a nice day.